Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good to be here.
So Michael is here. He's in the training theater with a lot of different accessories. He's got the 3-camera lineup. We have the ARRI SXT, the ARRI Mini, and in front of us here the ARRI Amira. So we have a lot of different things to showcase at their booth, including ARRI lighting. But what we wanted to highlight for our video here today and presentation is the brand new master grips that were just announced at IBC. So I'm really excited about these. Actually, they were one of the main things I noticed out of IBC from an operating standpoint. But Michael, why don't you tell me a little bit about just how they work and what's the plan for them?
Well, first off, any grip is for camera stability. So when you put it on your shoulder, with the Amira, it's easy to balance this camera. But with 2 hand grips, left, right, it's easy to control. So the coolest thing, and what everybody's excited about, and what Hendrik Voss did, our product manager, a great job on, is designing electronic integration of these grips with R motors, with E&G lenses, what we show here, and both CLM and C-Force motors we have.
So before we get into the electronics of it, actually,
yes.
I wanted to mention from an operating standpoint how they're built. So they obviously look very reminiscent of the original ARRI grips.
Exactly.
So
I think the history of these grips started with the SR camera, 16mm camera. So it was very easy to set up. The SR had a rosette on the side of it. You just plugged it in there and you're off, ready to go. So we applied that to this. But with this setup, we also offer these extensions. We offer 3 different sizes. This is one of the longest. And to clean things up, because this is electronics and we have cables, these little cable ties here. Easy to slip on and off.
And I know you also have an additional accessory or bracket that you can use for the lightweight rods if you don't want to go off the rosettes to extend them farther out from your body.
Yes, LSB or universal bridge support as well. Nice. For studio.
So obviously, even before we get into electronics of it, they're very adaptable from an operational standpoint, a physical standpoint.
Yes, there's a lot of flexibility to this whole system. It's great.
As
even
well
on
as
top
arms,
here.
Yes.
Fan arms?
You can do fan arms off the back of the head, so you can have.
Right. So the Amira, these days we're adapting it to configure into a broadcast style camera. So you can configure these for focus and iris configuration on a broadcast pedestal. So it's great.
Okay, so now what I want to hear about is the electronic setup. So talk me through what the setup is with this Amira. I know we're using a Canon 17-120 and everything is communicating, so tell us a little bit about that setup.
Okay, so there are 2 different types of grips. One is the right rocker for zoom, and the left master grip is a wheel. So using your thumb has a little wheel rotating on top. So there's 2 different ways of controlling motors. Each of these grips has 6 different configurable user settings. There's user settings in the hand grip itself and user settings that can be manipulated inside the menu of the camera. So you can control the NDs on the camera, so communicate with the settings on the camera if you want to change frame rate.
I think that's really exciting because it's on your shoulder and you are, operating it, doing all these functions yourself. You don't have to constantly take it off your shoulder to adjust. Exactly.
Make switches on the fly, very fast, easy, and beautiful user interface on this. To change between all the user settings is so simple.
And I know you also mentioned that they're color-coded and a touchscreen. So tell us a little bit about how the user set up for that.
Yeah, so there's a status screen, and the color code is really to know that you have media inside, or if the camera's recording, or if the camera's starting up and then gets up to speed and recording. So if you quick look down, you could see the status of the camera at any point. And also there's a status screen that shows maybe what your T-stop is, or the focal length, your zoom, or where you are in your focus.
And I don't think we've talked about the limits that you can set yet, so tell me about how you do that with the setup.
Yeah, so one thing we could do with this wheel is toggle between iris and focus. And in one situation, you can set a limit for your iris. Say you're going indoors to outdoors, you need to do maybe a little iris pull. You can set limits in that very easily just by toggling through the first point, the second point, and once you're done with that, you want to have the full range again. You toggle once again, you're out of that. So yeah, another quick way of working on the fly.
So we can also cable this to the motors or to the servo off of a servo lens.
Right, so this is probably the cleanest way, is connecting right to a servo zoom, a zoom with a servo on it rather. But we can integrate CineStyle with the Mini, the Amira, with the Cine lenses, and also Alexa.
So let's talk a little bit about also the controls on the hand grips. One thing I noticed is that they are set up in a way with grooves so that you don't accidentally hit a user button when you don't mean to. So what was the design element for that?
Yeah, so the feedback we got from various operators and cinematographers was that concern. So Hendrik took that into account in the design. He did a very good job.
And when I was playing with them earlier this morning, so it was one of the first things I wanted to see, it's very easy to toggle between the focus and iris on this left-hand grip, just by hitting this red button here.
Exactly, right? Hit the red button.
So let's talk a little bit about the rest of your ECS line, your electronic control system. I know that you have a lot more items at your booth as well. But maybe before we get there, this system, tell me about how it could be integrated into other cameras or other lenses. What are some other options or future setups that you can see?
Yeah, so with our cubes, whether it's L Cube 1 or 2, we're able to start integrating with other cameras like Sony F555 or Red and Canon. Maybe with that interface, we'll eventually one day maybe control the settings of those cameras. So we'll see what develops. But at this point, even if you're working with EF lenses, it's important to mention, you can control iris just only at this point using the master grips. So
that's pretty groundbreaking to me because it is adaptable, right? So for an investment or from a rental perspective, you can use it with different setups. You could use it with your own shoulder pad or shoulder regular lights, and also form it to like your setup as an operator.
Yes, super flexible for many different camera setups. So.
Okay, so maybe let's talk about the rest of the setups that you have at the ARRI booth that people should definitely check out, and we will record so we have some footage of that as well. I know you have a lot more in the wireless line, so tell me a little bit about what else you have over there.
Yes, so the good segue is to also mention that our wireless system does integrate with the master grips as well. So now we can combine into that world.
I was thinking about that because I know some viewers are probably thinking about that. How is it going to integrate with our other wireless system or with our motors that we already have? Especially now that you have that new motor bracket for the motor. That's really nice.
Yeah. So in the back there on the Mini, I brought the new L Cube, the new C-Force Plus motor. We have the C-Force Mini on a prime lens. And our UDM, which is our version of the Cinetape. So we're showing how the UDM interfaces with the Mini, shows the readout on the WCU4 display, and how you can control the focus tracking option in the WCU4 through the Mini. So
tell me a little bit about the cubes, actually, because I know you have a Cube 1 and you have a Cube 2, and they're converter boxes that do a lot of different things. So tell us a little bit about the setup of the cubes.
So the Cube 1 is a serial to L-bus converter little box. Because the Mini didn't have the serial port on it to plug in your UDM or Cinetape, we had to create an external box to interface with the camera. And like I mentioned before, you need to wirelessly send the readout to the hand unit so you can see the distance, and then trigger the focus tracking option so the motor goes to the distance the UDM or Cinetape is reading out. So that's one option. The second option is the Cube 2, which works with Hiroshi connectors, 12-pin Hiroshi.
So again, maybe a solution for other setups, other lenses, other cameras, in order to enable other wireless systems.
Exactly. More to come. Yeah.
So what are you most excited about with let's bring it back to the master grips before we take off here. What are you most excited about with the master grips or maybe the accessory line? do you like the most?
It's always great to hear when people praise the products you represent. But what I'm most excited to see is how people use it. We'll probably hear great feedback about how it's making their life easier, especially for operators, one-man bands, just on their own. I know it'll make life a lot easier to toggle between different settings and get that shot they might not have gotten before because it takes time to change the setting of the camera. So maybe we'll see much better shots out there and much better content.
I'm definitely excited to try them out. I want to see how they feel, obviously, but also how I can integrate it into all the other systems that people are using. So I like that. Definitely make sure you check them out here today at the Fall Tech Expo. And also everything else that ARRI's brought. We have the ARRI SXT camera, Alexa Mini, the Amira, and also Jane here from ARRI Lighting with the 3 big setups. I know we have a new S120C light, so make sure to check that out. US debut, so definitely check that out. All right, Michael, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks everyone for watching, and stay tuned for our next presentation.
Thank you.